First one, and this is like one of an impactful chapter, I would say, because these days you hear from many of these modern psychologists that anger is normal. This you don't have to feel bad about feeling angry, right? So that is one perspective. But what Sister Shivani gives is a different perspective. She says anger is not normal. Okay, anger is never useful. Anger doesn't empower us, right? And anger is a choice. So this chapter is very important in today's times, where we see a lot of anger, a lot of rage. Outside, when you step out, you get into a car, you see a lot of road rage. I live in Bangalore and I see that quite a lot. So what causes anger? Is it external situations? Is it people? Is it because we want to stay in control all the time? We want people to behave the way we want them to behave, right? The expectation that everyone should be the same. Everyone should think, speak, act, behave exactly the way we want them to be, right? That expectation, if that expectation is not met, we feel angry, right? So these are all like possible reasons why anger arises in the first place. So what Sister Shivani says is that anger is our choice. It is our internal creation. She gives a very beautiful example. So let's say the husband, he gets into an argument at workplace or some challenge that he faces at his work. He comes back home. The wife asks something and then he snaps at her, and then they get into an argument. There is a lot of words being exchanged, and then suddenly a doorbell rings. And then there is a courier boy who has come. So then the husband opens the door, he offers a smile, he collects the courier, he signs that receipt, he gives it back, and then he returns, right? And then he continues the fight. So which means that anger is our internal creation, and we decide with whom we can get angry, right? With whom we can show our anger. Sometimes, though we might have anger inside, we wouldn't show it to the other person due to various reasons. We'll come to that. So she says anger is our choice and it is our internal creation, right? It happens due to various reasons. One is lack of self-control. We just react instantly. Second is lack of patience, lack of awareness to think the right way whenever a situation happens. So these are all the possible reasons why anger occurs. And many times, people say anger is required. Only then you will be able to handle a situation, right? But she gives a different perspective. Anger is never useful. So when even one episode of anger, it makes us pay a heavy price. I have seen this often with my daughter, where there might be like 20 times where I was like being friendly with her, having fun times with her, but that one episode of anger that I might have expressed, she would remember it. Okay, so one episode of anger, it inflicts a deeper wound in the other person, and it makes us pay a heavy price. Okay, and whenever we target somebody with anger, the relationship is like affected, and it is very hard to reverse it. Okay, so anger is never useful, but we are made to believe that anger is required. It is necessary for us to get things done. It is natural. Like all these are being propagated. Does anger empower us? Sometimes, if situation is like beyond our control and we feel angry, we feel for that moment that we have power over that situation. So it gives us the temporary sense of outer power, but actually it takes away our inner power. So what happens? This is again very beautifully explained. So she says that anger, whenever somebody creates anger, the first person to be affected is the one who creates that energy. Okay, And the receiving end, those who feel hurt or humiliated, who are at the receiving end of our anger, their vibrations, how they felt hurt or disappointed, those will affect our vibrations and it will deplete our energy. So many times we think only if I am like angry, people will fear me, right? People will respect me. But that's not the case. So she says fear and respect cannot coexist. So when you fear a person, you wouldn't respect that person. Okay. So when you respect somebody, you are sending out pure and powerful thoughts to that person. But when you are fearing somebody, the thoughts that the other person receives are, toxic and turbulent. So fear and respect cannot coexist. So it is only our misunderstanding that when we show anger, others would fear me and through which I will get respect, which is not the case. So slowly what happens is that if you want to feel powerful, you will show anger and you will think that our sense of power, now it becomes dependent on other people, right? Only if I show anger, I'll feel powerful. So again, it creates that emotional dependency, and any form of dependency depletes our inner power. Okay, so anger doesn't empower us. And again, as I told, that creator of any emotion is the first receiver of its energy. This is like, the light bulb moment. So she says that the first person to experience that energy. So if your energy that you're sending out or creating is toxic, you are the first to experience it. It impacts your mind, body. So you might have seen people who get angry very easily, right? And they raise their voice. They are the people you will eventually see get into ailments like high blood pressure, right? All those emotions, they first manifest in us, and manifestation, whatever happens in the mind, it shows up in the body as well, right? So the stress hormone increases, cortisol levels are higher, and slowly the blood pressure shoots up, right? So all these are manifestations. So the first to experience the energy is us. The recipient of anger, right? They have a choice. They can either consume the anger that is coming their way, or they could just stop receiving it. You keep shouting, I don't care, right? That person doesn't receive that energy. So you will keep shouting, you will be angry, nothing happens, right? So that recipient of anger has a choice. And the recipient of anger is more powerful, right? Because of that choice. Now, if they choose to consume that energy, those painful vibrations, so they feel hurt, they feel that pain because you showed your anger, that painful vibrations, they radiate back to you because they believe that you are the cause of the pain. Okay. And the other important aspect is that this person has that painful vibration radiating to you. That vibration, it depends on the duration this person takes to heal. Okay. And this duration, it doesn't depend on the intensity of the anger. Okay. So you might have snapped for a very simple thing, and then you might have gone back. But if that person holds on to it, he holds on to that feeling and he's not able to release it, then that vibration keeps coming back. So it depends on the person's ability to let go, person's ability to heal, person's ability to release that emotion. So once you let go, you might have forgotten that this episode has happened, but these negative vibrations are coming to you. So at the end, the summary is that the one who creates anger suffers more than the one who receives it. Okay. So when we apologize, yes, it helps to heal faster. The other person will feel better and he'll stop sending those vibrations of pain. So apology helps, but at the same time, now we are like, again, the power is on the other person. The other person has to let go or forget and move on, right? If that doesn't happen, if that person holds on to that grudge, then those negative vibrations keep coming to you. So the one who creates anger suffers more than the one who receives it. This is like, eye-opening for me when I read this chapter. Anger is a choice. Okay. We discussed how we choose to be angry with certain people. An infant might be crying throughout the night. You don't get angry with an infant. Or a pet, for example, a pet might be troubling you so much, but still you wouldn't feel angry, right? So anger is a choice. You only choose to be angry with people who you think you can be angry with. So you choose whom to be angry with. Then you wouldn't shout at somebody in a public place, right? When to get angry, um, how much of anger to create, right? All these are in our control. So anger is a choice.